Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We have the prayer and the pledge by Councilmember Natalie Lopez.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Our Father, who
art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Dan Doyle.
Here.
Councilmember Natalie Lopez.
President.
Councilmember Marlon Lewis.
Here.
Councilmember David Broussard.
Here.
Councilmember Deidre Ledbetter.
Here.
Councilmember Sherry Guidry.
Present.
Councilmember Dustin Swear.
Here.
Thank you. Item 1 is public comment. Do we have any public comment cards tonight?
No, sir.
Nope. Seeing none, we'll move on to item 2.
Acceptance of the minutes. Acceptance of the minutes of the July 16, 2019 meeting as published on July 26, 2019.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Lewis. Do I have a second? Councilman Broussard. Are there any discussion on the minutes? Hearing, seeing none, please vote your machines. Thank y'all. Item 3.
Persons to address the council. First, we have Ricky Gonsolin announcing his candidacy for the open seat in the Louisiana House of Representatives.
Thank you. I appreciate the time and opportunity to speak with y'all tonight. I know I'm used to sitting on the other side, on this side, so won't be long. I'm sure you'll have a 3-minute rule. But most of you know me. My name is Ricky Gonsolin. I'm currently 5th generation sugarcane farmer in Iberia Parish. Iberia Parish Farm Bureau president for the last 10 years. Obviously, serving on the parish council for 8 years as chairman, finance chairman, vice chairman over the last 8 years respectively. And my family's from Iberia, 5th generation, 3 kids, one coming back from Florida, but one's a nurse at Iberia General Hospital. The other one's on a farm, graduated in business. My son's moving back from Florida. He was coaching baseball at Florida Southern University. He'll be back in town in January. So I'm proud to say all my kids are back home in town. Over the past years, we've been very, very successful in the parish, working with the city and moving this parish forward. And glad to say that we're seeing progress now after some hard work. And it's all about having a pulse of your community. What do you know and what do you do and what are the problems and can you solve the problems in Iberia Parish? And that's what we've done. We've not been successful in everything we try to do, but our track record is really good. And I think when you're talking about the state race and what do you want to do and how do you want to handle it, we have some really big shoes to fill in Taylor Byrock. What a wonderful job this gentleman did for Iberia Parish. A great job and some really big shoes to fill, but we're up to that task. We're up to that task because we've been there 8 years and we know the needs of our community. We know what it takes to move forward, and I think it takes experience. If you look back at my record, 2,178 votes I've cast on the parish council in 8 years. 2,178 votes. Stood up strong, took the rhetoric, took the compassion, took the appraisals, took all the good and the bad with it, but continue to move forward and move this parish forward. Whatever the setbacks were, we addressed them. Whatever the acclamations were, we took them on and appreciated them. But as a council member, it's not a thankless task, and you have to be thick-skinned and strong to take it and move it forward. But in that regard, we're very proud of what we've done on the council, and we leave back a track record that's very conservative, and the people appreciate what we've done in this efforts. But on the state level, people say, Ricky, well, what's your solution? I've heard, several people talk, and they state the problems. They state all the problems, but what are the solutions? So, just 4 or 5 things that I think that we have to do on the state level is, number one is, we all talk about economic development. And what it's going to take, number one thing is bring the oil field back. The oil field back. I'm the one to tell you, as finance chairman over 8 years, the parish took a 37% decrease in revenue, and we still maintain the services that we provided to our people. What business can take a 37% decrease in revenue and still do it? That's by fiscal responsibility. That's what it takes. But so we got to bring economic development back to this town through oil field and what other and agriculture and other industries we have. But You know, two things we really got to look at. We got to look at severance taxes. You know, our severance taxes are the highest along the Gulf Coast. We need to try to reduce those severance taxes and make it more attractable for business to come back. We gotta, we gotta address tort reform. That's a big issue in the state. We tried to do that. They tried to do that this year and were unsuccessful. But we have to, reduce the jury threshold from 50,000 to 5,000 and move that forward. And one of the other things we have to provide a stable labor force for the companies that want to relocate in Iberia Parish. And that can be done by redirecting some of your TOPS money to community colleges, get more blue-collar workers on the job. That way they can hire. So if you got a company coming in this parish and wants to relocate and lower taxes, good people to work for them, and they don't have to look over the shoulder and worry about getting sued with frivolous lawsuits, they're going to come back and they're going to hire people and they're going to be successful. So that's one of the recipes for economic development for this town. A lot of people want to address infrastructure. And that's an ugly word when it comes to infrastructure. Nobody has any money to repair infrastructure. But do you know, in the state of Louisiana, DOTD's budget is $700 million. $700 million DOTD. Of that $700 million, 85% is through bureaucracy and office jobs. Only the balance of it is poured towards asphalt. That's unacceptable. Unacceptable. We have to get more money to the ground, to asphalt. We have to go in and restructure DOTD and make the people respect that what we're doing, that we can repair the infrastructure. That's just a starting point. We got to look at public-private partnerships. That's a big issue in the state. We have to address those issues to try to get more money to repair infrastructure, not only on the state level, but on the local level. And what people say is, we're paying a 16-cent gas tax for infrastructure repair currently. Very little that's coming down to the local governments. We have a local component to the gas tax so we can get more money so you guys can direct some of the money to the state highways located within your municipality that you think we can fix and create economic development. That's where it starts. We can accomplish those three, then we can move on to bigger and better things, but that'll earn the trust back of the people with their taxes for infrastructure. The next thing we need to talk about is education. The biggest thing is education in the state of Louisiana. Education, $7 billion budget. $7 billion budget. Apple's budget for 2018, $7 billion. Apple's number 2 company in America. Our education's 49th. That's not acceptable. If you take that number, you divide it by the number of classrooms in the state of Louisiana, that's $300,000 per classroom, $12,000, $500 per student. And we rank 49. It's not acceptable. We have to revamp our educational system. We have to do away with Common Core. We don't have to create a new model. It's all done all over the country. We have to give the kids the freedom of choice to pick the schools that they want to go to be successful. We got to get the money to the children and get a better product so we can move this state forward. That's a long-term solution. But yeah, $12,500 per student. It's unacceptable and ranked 49th. So we got to work hard on education. So those are 3 of the things that we can really address. Starting off, there's multiple other issues that we can address to move the state forward. But I'm here to tell you that I've stood up strong for the parish council, always addressed the issues, never back down on a fight that was worth the fight to the taxpayers. And I will continue to do that in Baton Rouge on your behalf. And I really want to ask you guys for your support and appreciate anything you can do for me. And if there's any questions, I'd gladly address them.
Questions?
Thank you all for the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Madam Clerk, item 3B.
We have John Sharpenshay with Bayreuth Habits and Associates and Mr. Gordon Dahl with Gordon's Disposal to give an update on Hurricane Barry storm debris pickup.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Just give you all a little rundown of basically where we are, where we started. Of course, if you know, the hurricane hit us on the 13th of July. Gordon, he has a pre-existing contract for storm debris to work with the city that was bid out in 2018, and those carry on for 2 years at a time. So he basically worked with the city. First 72 hours, removed emergency debris that needed to be moved out just to open up roads, and started picking up some stuff in that time frame. From there, we met with the city on that following Monday, the 15th, discussed the debris management pickup, as we have a contract with the city as well, pre-existing. And basically on Tuesday, we staffed up, prepared everything to start the monitoring operations. On the Wednesday, we went to Gordon's facility, measured all his trucks, got everything in place so we could start the debris pickup. And on Wednesday, the 17th, we basically started, on Thursday, I'm sorry, the 18th, we started monitoring, collecting in the city with one crew. We went to all the way to the 29th. On the 29th, we got with the city to get a second crew just because the time frame it was taking with one crew. Things are moving a little slow. The debris was a little more than we anticipated in the very beginning. The way the storm fell on the weekend, most people didn't get to start cleaning their yards to the following weekend because most people went to work on Monday because the structural damage of businesses and stuff wasn't that catastrophic. The electricity was here there, but most people went back to work. So a lot of the debris didn't start piling up until the following weekend. So even some of the areas we hit early, it generated itself back just because of the time frame. Basically, second crew, we went through, last week we put on the garbage truck to start picking up just bags, because in going through the city, there's a lot of bag debris. People kind of tend to bag their small sticks, leaves and whatnot, so we started picking up bags with that truck starting last Friday. And basically, out of the last 20 days, we've collected debris for 18 out of those. We're working 6 days a week. They're working about from 7 to 5 every day. Where we're bringing the stuff closes at 5, so we can't empty trucks after 5 o'clock. As of yesterday, we've loaded and transported 475 truckloads of debris. We've disposed of approximately 12,300 cubic yards of debris at the landfill. So far, we've got 34 tons at the transfer station from the garbage truck. Our first pass through the city, we were limited to just trees. I know there was a lot of complaints. We had mixed piles with C&D and trees, but the way the landfill is situated, they have to put trees in one pit, and the other one is for the C&D material. So we finished yesterday. We considered our first pass. I mean, I know there were some areas that weren't picked up on the first pass. We got about 90% of the city. I would estimate on the first pass, just trees. And starting yesterday with both crews, we started picking up the mixed piles. So it doesn't matter what's in the pile. As long as it's acceptable debris from the storm, we can pick it up. So they started yesterday picking up every pile they got to that's acceptable for the storm damage. So those crews are going to run now through the city again on the second pass, picking all that stuff up. We anticipate probably about 3 weeks, give or take, and we'll be pretty much done. That's pretty much just a rundown of how we started, where we are, and where we're headed. I have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Sure.
I don't really have a question. I just want you to kind of maybe clarify, since we have the camera here, people will view this maybe another 3 more times within that 3-week span. There's some discrepancy about the bags that's to the road and the trash cans. I want to commend the residents because they were trying to be neat, and they thought by putting it in bags and in little trash cans and not just throwing it and piling it all up to the road. And then when y'all came and picked up maybe the trees but left the bags in the trash, so they thought that y'all just passed them up, but that wasn't true.
No, ma'am.
And so then the calls came in some more and flooded our phones. So if you can just kindly maybe address that to maybe help out our constituents.
Where we're bringing this material is the landfill in Koto at Pace. They can't put bags in the tree landfill. It's not regulated for that. So if a bag shows up in that landfill, they have to go out and actually bust the bag open and pull the bag out. So because this is mostly a tree damage storm, I mean, probably 95% of our damage is tree damage. So our main focus was getting the big pile of trees off the side of the road and getting those brought in. The bags, we're always going to come back and get those. And then that's probably a little bit, because they have a weekly pickup here, people are used to putting their stuff out every week. It's just they have a normal debris service pickup, and that's one thing we probably should have noted on there, that we were going to have to suspend that until we finished hurricane cleanup. But the intention was always to come back for the bags and the trash cans. The only way, because we're using the big tall trucks, we can't physically dump the trash cans in those, so that has to get picked up by the self-compacting garbage truck, which is en route now. So as they're going along, they're emptying cans, they're picking up all the bags. So, and I realized it was a little bit of a delay to pick that stuff up, but it was just because of how we have to handle it at the landfill itself. But all that's getting picked up now, and whether it's in the grapple crews are picking up bags. If they get to a pile, there's a bag, and it all gets picked up now. But it was just a delay to get that, just because we were focused on the big the big stuff to bring to the landfill, so we could keep it separate.
Okay,
So-
so, basically, you're clarifying to say that, you will be going back to pick up the bags
Yeah.
and the little trash cans that got real neat to
Yeah.
the road?
Yep.
You see, because at first, when you pick up their trees, I was a hero, and then when you left their bags in the trash can, then I was a nobody, and then, I wasn't gonna get reelected and all that other stuff, but that was fine, so.
Well, the
so-
garbage truck is gonna make an entire pass through the city. And it's gonna
Okay.
pick up, anything that the crew leaves behind that
Yes,
they
sir.
can't pick up, they're gonna pick up. And that's, again, we have to classify it as acceptable materials. The trees and branches, that stuff's acceptable. We do have some stuff that, we do have quite a bit of furniture that we can't pick up with the debris
Okay.
contract. And
Thank you so
that'll
much.
get picked up later on when he starts his weekly service.
Thank you for clarifying that.
You're welcome.
So what happens if it's a mixed pile?
They're pick-
Trees and furniture and other things, because some people have done that. It started off as storm debris, and then people saw it was kind of like a dumping site, and they just added whatever to it on top of it. So what y'all gonna do about that?
If it's not a lot of stuff, if it's easy to move the furniture off the top of the pile, then they can do that and still grab the what we can pick up underneath. But if it's not, if it's like a really bad mixed pile, that will get picked up when he resumes his regular rounds after we're finished with the hurricane debris.
You
So-
say in 3 weeks.
Yes, ma'am. That's what we anticipate it's gonna take us to get through, to pick everything up under this debris removal contract.
Further questions? No? I just have a couple of comments. We still don't know if we're being reimbursed by FEMA. We tried to be as fiscally responsible as we could. If this was a major, major category 3, 4 storm, we know we'd get paid back. What happened in the past, we had major storms. Gordon could come in and put 5 crews on it and clean the town up quicker. Now, we spent a whole lot of money, but we knew that we were going to get it back. This case was basically a minimal hurricane, a windstorm, no flooding, okay? So we are communicating with FEMA, we are working with GOSEP, we are filling out the paperwork. As per our contract, we have, bid these contracts out. We're following all the steps to attempt to recoup our money. We had $500,000 in our disaster fund, okay? And we're gonna spend upwards of $300,000 to $400,000 on this. So we don't know if we're getting paid back. So the financial decision was to start with 1 crew and assess the situation. We did that, and we quickly realized that, we haven't had a major wind event through our community that the winds, they weren't that high, but they were sustained for a good while. With the amount of limbs that were down, then we started realizing 1 crew will never finish, okay? We put 2. The next big financial decision was, do we work on Sunday? Sunday required some overtime. We said, we can't do it. So we have 2 crews. They're out there continuous. Now we have a garbage truck. Barrett Habits has found a way to help us that I didn't have to have a 3rd monitor because it's expensive. So I just want people to know that, we made fiscally responsible decisions. If we, I'd rather have this than have a major storm that we had a lot of damage. If we do, though, there is a faster way to pick it up. But in this case, knowing that we had $500,000 in the budget and not knowing any clue if we're going to get reimbursed, this was the responsible way to do it. Does it mean it's going to take a couple weeks longer? Yes, it does. Does it mean that you might have a dead grass spot in your yard? Yes, it does. Does it mean that we get calls and calls and calls about this? Sure, it does. Well, we just got to take the heat. I mean, to be responsible, we are cleaning the town. Look, Gordon started that 72-hour gig. The Sunday, the winds were still blowing, and Gordon was out there cleaning the streets. No one has goofed. It has just been the only way that we could do this responsibly. So I asked him to come tonight. We also have a map that is up. If you could explain the map, it just kind of shows you where we've been so that you can see that we have, just about made a pass through the whole community. I ask our citizens to be patient. We're working on it as fast as we can under the circumstances.
So basically, every day I get reports from the monitors, and then they log which streets we pick up debris on per truck. So every day I have a map, and I'm just highlighting the map. It highlights every street that's been touched on the first pass. Like I said, there are going to be some streets that were skipped on the first pass. It wasn't intentional. We started off with 1 crew. They were kind of working from the north, working their way around through town. And then, we had quite a bit of stuff piling up on the north side of the City Park especially. There was some huge piles in City Park. So I asked them to move to the north side just because the park is so used every day to alleviate some of that debris. And they stayed on that side of town, and a day or two later is when we got the second crew, and they tried to pick up where they left off, and there was maybe a 2 or 3 block area where they got skipped. So they finished that, and and then when they finished the north side, first group came back on the south side of town, and they basically met up in the middle around Lewis Street. Now that considered first pass is done, like I said, yesterday we started picking up all the, whatever pile was there. It doesn't matter what was in it, trees, C&D debris, whichever. And they're basically rerunning their routes again.
We also bounced through the whole community. We started at Acadian Acres, we ended up in the West End some, then we ended up across the bayou some, but we bounced all over town.
Yeah.
We tried to we did a couple of days on one side, a couple of days on the other. With one crew, we had to, it wasn't no particular area. We did
Because I did get calls, I even got calls about where I was picking up. People were complaining about, so we made sure. Same thing with electricity. I don't have anything to do with electricity, but you don't know how many calls we had right after the hurricane of where I was putting the electricity on. I don't have anything to do with that, okay? But anyway, with this, we could control it, so we tried to be fair, and we bounced all over town. I see we have a couple of more questions or comments. Deidre?
Yes, is there a limit to the size of the tree? Like,
We've been able to pick up almost anything. We've never said that it had to be just 4 feet and certain side branches. As long as my equipment can pick it up, unless it's just 5 feet in diameter and it weighs a fortune, because, weighs a lot of weight. We've been able to pick up in it. I think we left one stump so far that we just can't pick up. We'll have to work on that towards, the rest is pretty much easy.
because I did see, I think along Bank Street, a newly cut big chunks of tree.
Might not be a
That's
hurricane
another-
either.
That was by the school.
Yes.
Yes, I caught that yesterday. That's a tree service that cut that down, and I talked to those guys, and they said they were gonna come pick it up with their equipment.
Because we
Okay.
have had 3 or 4 instances
Yeah.
where
And-
you or David had to go and say, look, we're not picking it up, it's a tree service, you're getting paid to do that.
Some of these people figured, well, I don't want to take a chance of it falling on my house the next storm, so they decided to cut it. It wasn't storm damage, and the monitors are pretty good about spotting somebody, especially if it's green when we get to it. By now, everything should be brown, so if it's green, it's not, from the storm by any means.
But anytime we have an issue like that and I document it, I send incident reports to Maxine and administration. We document
Yep.
that, and they get a copy to know that this is not for you to pick up. This is not hurricane waste.
So they might not agree with that decision, but that's just the way it's not a storm-related incident. They decided they just want to cut some trees so they don't have them around their house. Now, y'all still gonna have some problems down the road with these hangers that are limbs broken that's still hung up in the tree. They will be falling down throughout the next 5 to 6 months. We'll be picking them up as part of our contract, but I'm just saying, they will have problems that, that it's gonna continue. We'll be seeing branches for a while, even after we do these massive paths. They're gonna eventually fall down with the next little wind or whatever, but,
Okay. Yes, sure.
I just want to just end it with this. I just want to say that Mr. Gordon is doing a great job. Him and his crew. I can honestly say when you do call them, they don't know exactly when they're gonna get to it, but they do get to it. Their crew is very courteous, and they do follow up with you. And when I do callbacks with my constituents, it's done. So I just want to thank y'all for all y'all hard work and everything that y'all doing. And I can honestly say, I don't know who's Lindsay. Are you here? Oh, that's Lindsay? Oh, I finally get to meet Lindsay. That's a hard-working lady right there. And she's real patient, so.
well, we can't bounce around.
Right.
Once we try to set a routine, we want to make
Y'all
sure
do.
everybody's equal and we're going down.
That's right.
To say, oh, I have one that
That's
you know,
right.
on this street that we've either passed already, we can't go back right
Right.
now. And normally, once we on our route, we always end up going back to grab that one
Y'all
mile.
do.
It's not a big deal, but it's a little different circumstances now that we have to, you know, and the public's, I believe, is starting to see some progress with the second round, and I think in the next 2 weeks, the phone calls should be very little, and we should be just winding up with everything, so.
And I just want to know when you're going to give Linda a vacation because
Soon. She has to have surgery. She's been holding off for me right now.
Oh,
So
okay.
we hope by September I can let her do her surgery on her feet.
Thank y'all.
But anyway, you know, if there's anything we can do, I can't promise we can get to one of your pals that one of your people calling in, but we work around it.
Y'all do.
We'll do our best.
Anything further?
On Emma,
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
you turn down Emma, it's a war zone. Got 3 big piles, 40 foot, 30 foot tall. Now, I know they trees from the backyard and all this good stuff, so
Trees from the tree service.
they've been left over. Now it's time to go talk to them and put the foot down. If y'all can help me on Emma, I think, you know, our zoning man's
I
gonna
talked to
go.
the homeowner, cause he
Yeah.
owns the house on the corner and then he
Yeah,
owns some houses down
I
the
know,
street.
yeah.
I talked
And,
to him when he was working on the 3 houses and then I didn't realize he owned the corner house.
I understand. So
But
anything,
I tried to go over there a couple
Yeah.
times, knock on the door, no one answered, I left a letter.
that's all. I just
So-
wanna, you know, tell the people on
But he's
Emma.
not happy with the decision
I
not being
know.
picked up,
I
of
know,
course. You
but-
know, I'm sure he's called Freddie by now.
Something's gotta be put, he has to go get a dumpster and get it done.
Well, that's the city to control that, either force them or
Yeah.
fine them or whatever.
Jimmy.
That's Jimmy Landers.
I think
Go
Jimmy
knock
said
on
he's
the
going
door
tomorrow and
try
talk to him, you
tell
know,
that
some more.
he has to have
But it has to be done. It's too bad for the other neighbors on, it's all on one side of the road. The other side doesn't have any trees.
Correct.
Thank you.
Well, look
Yes,
like
sir.
look like tree services and tire services got busy after the storm. I'm
And the
seeing.
way their contract reads, these tree services are supposed to haul off what they do, but
Right.
they have just been putting it at the road thinking
Right.
the city's gonna take care of the bill and pick up everything and, cause that's what happened on previous storms.
Yeah.
This storm's a little
That's
different.
not how it works.
Yeah, it doesn't work at this particular storm.
Well, if y'all can get some tires while y'all out there going on the ground, because tire services got busy too after the
Yeah,
storm.
and we do part of, our contract is the tires, but we haven't even touched that.
Right.
That won't be till 3-4
But
weeks.
seriously, it looked like people took advantage of the
Oh.
situation and put more tires
They
out
put
there.
more tires
Yeah.
out, because we only allowed to pick up 4
Right.
tires per
5
resident.
per household?
4.
Oh, you don't get the spare tire? You just get.
Yes.
I was trying for 5.
But some have 25, and I must have been a lot of flats on their cars, but anyway.
But it's looking good.
Yeah.
Y'all being efficient and y'all being
Give
equal.
us 2 weeks, and you should just have a few that we might have missed 1 or 2, but I don't think you're gonna get the phone calls anymore.
Great. Well, I can't thank the two of y'all enough. Both firms have done a good job for us. I'm, thrilled to have y'all, and we'll just keep plugging through it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, item 4. A.
Resolutions. Resolution in support of the U.S. Department of the Interior Fish and Wildlife Service Wildlife and Support Fish Restoration Program Boating Infrastructure Grant Program Tier 1 Grant for funding for City of New Iberia Civic Center Marina Phase 2 East.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Sherry Guidry and a second by the Mayor Pro Tem Dan Dahl. I have Paul Allain here to tell you about this is a future grant. Paul, you want to tell us about it?
Sure.
Thank you.
This grant is, it's actually, this project has 3 phases. This is the second phase of the project. We've had an opportunity, Freddie invited through State Senator Fred Mills, Jack Montecalvo with Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries to come and visit here at City Hall. It was a very fruitful visit. We talked about all the projects that were going on, that they were administering, and I think that was kind of the fruition is that we are annually presenting grant packages to the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries. We have been successful. We've gotten 2 so far. We think that we might be able to get some future projects that looks good for us. So this is a continuation of a project behind City Hall. Phase 1, we're awaiting some news on its funding. We should hear shortly. This is Phase 2. It's actually right behind City Hall. I think the mayor envisioned that he would like to have a public launching area to kind of encourage people to be able to utilize the Bayou Teche. It's kind of a hidden asset for us. And the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries is tickled pink that we're paying attention to it. So they're very encouraged by this application. And so basically what it is, on an annual basis, communities are allowed to submit grants, and the cash value that you get is $200,000. The obligation is 25%. So the total amount that's dedicated towards the project is $266,312. We've done, Jane Grove put together with our assistance an application, and Freddie signed off on the documentation. So we think it's a really good project. I encourage that y'all support this resolution. It is a requirement of the grant, and it's pretty much stated exactly what we want. So any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Dan.
Are they gonna have any shore power or water hookup for the boats?
Yes, we intend on having shore power. It has to be handicap accessible with some ramps, and certainly there'll be water. And we're actually going to have a CVA system, which is going to be relocated, which means they'll actually have an ability to, that was one of the requirements of the grant, that a CVA system be located within the vicinity of the development. Otherwise, you wouldn't get the funding. So that should be forthcoming soon. So not only will you have water, electricity, you may actually be able to have communications like internet, but we're also working on a dumping system so that you don't dump your sewer into the waterways.
Mayor, with this boardwalk or boat dock is to be underneath the Park and Recreation, and people would be charged to be able to park there, or how are we gonna?
Eventually.
Yeah.
The first part of the grant, we are free for a year. It's kind of the initial requirement.
Part of the agreement.
It's part of the agreement. So, down the road, yes. First thing is just to get it built. As you know, we have the boat slips that are coming behind Rodriguez Park. We already got the grant for the CVA unit. Talking to Wildlife and Fisheries, we should quickly, in the next probably the next month, hear about phase 1 of this, which would give us the beginning of it. And then we're already loading the gun for phase 2. And both Fred Mills, Jack Monestay, the Lieutenant Governor, been talking to all of them, and they feel pretty confident that they've begun to fund our projects, and they really do see the value of waking up to the bayou and how New Iberia is one of the largest communities on Bayou Teche. Bayou Teche is basically almost 200 miles, so we kind of become a hub for a tourism kind of adventure, if you will. So because of that, they feel pretty comfortable that as we continue to apply, we'll continue to get these next phases. Which, once they start funding you, they realize the value of, continuing to fund your project. So that's why we're not letting up at all and would like to see this, come to fruition. But like I said, we need this resolution for the grant application.
Thank you.
Sure. Any further questions?
I would add that
Sure. Paul?
U.S. Department of Wildlife requires that the Army Corps of Engineers approve this process for permitting to stay out of the navigational component of the waterway. So this project qualifies for that. And also the Historic Preservation Office requires that an archaeological study be done. And we already have that developed into the cost of the project. We did one of those on city slips, so it is a requirement of the grant. So we're meeting all the requirements, and so we're a very good candidate. That's what I'm trying to say. That's it.
Anything further? Well, I ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Paul. Madam Clerk, 4B.
Resolution removing Shanika S. Keel from the New Iberia Housing Authority Board due to lack of attendance in accordance with Louisiana Revised Statute 40, Section 537, after proper notification and no requests for a hearing to appeal.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Swear. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Lewis. Do we have any discussion on this item? Hearing none, please vote your machines. Thank you very much. Now we move on to 4C. Madam Clerk?
Resolution appointing Fred Wesley, Chairman, Panat, Azamati, Darren Zonaming,
Yeah.
Darren Sofas, and Delana Booty Turiak as commission members to continue serving on the board for the New Iberia Housing Authority.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Lopez and a second by Councilman, who was second? I'm not too sure. You were second? Councilman Broussard. Spoke up for the night. Do we have any discussion on this item? Yes.
I'm gonna vote in favor of appointing these people, but they know that there are some problems and they need to be more involved in helping to solve those problems. I did get a call on last week about the grass at Markham Homes. It was on television, the condition of Markham Homes with the high, tall grass. And I know that there's a problem with the contract, and you're working on getting a contract together. But the board should be more proactive in that if there is a need, they need to fill that need temporarily until you could get the contract done. Say maybe the maintenance people, you could rent a lawnmower to keep the grass cut, to keep snakes out, because in Markham Homes there are older people and handicapped people, and they are pretty afraid right now. They really are. So, or you could get some volunteers. Pastor Sofas is a member of the committee. He could get maybe some of the pastors or some volunteers to cut the grass until that contract, is signed with somebody. If there's a will, there's a way, and it doesn't always involve a whole lot of money. What is the maintenance person really doing now? Maintenance is going undone right now anyway, so that may not ordinarily be part of their job description, but when push comes to shove, you should do anything that you're told to do, as an employee to help out. So I would hope that you all would take care of that, the grass at least, some kind of way, as soon as possible, because like I said, the older people in Markham Homes are scared, and snakes are coming in. So I'm gonna vote for this, and I'm gonna put my trust in you that you all are gonna do the right thing and get that particular problem solved right now, and then for the long run, see that the contract is fulfilled.
Thank you. Sure.
I got to say that I agree with Miss Deidre. I did hear of a financial plan moving forward for the board members. I do know all of the board members. I have no problem with any of this. I'm excited for them. At the same token, I didn't hear of a new organizational structure moving forward for the entire plan for the board members. So hopefully that we have it. You all have it together. You have a plan moving forward. I'm looking forward to seeing what you all are going to do to move this thing forward. And so, like I said, I'll go ahead on and vote for it. But hopefully you all have a plan that can be workable, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with all that. Okay.
Thank you. Any further comments?
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Well, I have one of the properties in my district, it be Simon Housing Authority, and I got a lot of calls earlier about about the board and about the director and some of the things that were happening, wasn't happening, some of the things that were potentially coming down the pipeline under this current board. And I was a little concerned as to why are we not dealing with the past oversight that was in charge of making sure that the people who lived there lived in a safe environment, a clean environment, an environment that was maintained, and as well as in respect to the past and previous directors, as well as oversight over them. We all big boys and girls in here. We all signed up for the jobs we have as city council. We all are subject to ridicule and criticism, and that's just what we signed up for. Same as public boards. You know, you sit on a board and you're there to govern, but when things become unmanageable or the manageability piece has fallen by the wayside, what am I saying? I'm talking about Marlon Lewis, District 2 representative. What am I saying if I say, yes, let's go with the same crew? I just feel as though that, and let's say I say we all big boys and big girls. You don't scold adults, but we all know what we're supposed to do and we ain't supposed to be doing. We all know we ain't doing it. I don't appoint the board. We just ratify your, decision or your people. But for some of the things that I heard, and I put it to you like this. We met with the board concerning some issues, and we couldn't get the 4 names in the room together to talk about the issues. I mean, come on, let's be real. I could say, oh, it's no big deal. But for me, it's a big deal. And it's a big deal because of the calls that I got blaming us, blaming me, blaming Sherry, blaming Ms. Ledbetter, blaming you for the potential loss of funding for the Housing Authority. And I mean, we need to get one thing out in the open, that it ain't our fault. But at this point, we do have a choice whether or not we're going to go with the same board or whether we may open it up for new people to submit their names. Because sometimes, and I'm not talking about nobody, I serve on a board. I serve on a Smile Community Action Board. And I tell you, they got people that have been there 20 years, and we all have opinions about each other. But sometimes you can sit on a board too long and become complacent. Sometimes you can get too close to the problem and further from the solution because of your longevity on the board. And I don't know. I just think things need to. We got term limits. I don't know if they were termed out or what have you, or terms came up or what have you. But I mean, I'm not saying don't bring them back or what have you. I'm just saying, I just kind of don't like, hey, look, let's just let this thing do what it's doing. We're going to all be all right. I'm not confident that we're going to all be all right in terms of those housing complexes where a lot of my people live. I grew up in, and, others that I know, and it's a great place to start. It's a great place to live until you get on your feet or what have you. But I mean, I just got a question and I'm going to shut up. It is the board's responsibility to govern and make sure everything is ran right? And we had some problems that we knew, right? We saw, right? Yes. And some of the same names that we're faced with today, all of the names, right? So that's all I'm saying. I mean, that's the elephant in the room for me. I'm one of those people that don't like to overlook too much. I mean, I didn't sign up to overlook stuff. I signed up to make sure that everything is decent and in order. So that's the question. That's the comment. I don't even know if I need an answer or amen. But it's
Probably both.
I don't want to serve on the board and it falls on. I was on Smiles board. I just got on Smiles board when they lost the funding for Head Start. And Ms. Ledbetter tell you, and this stuff had happened in 2015. I wasn't there. the reason why I stayed on the board, and it's not popping my whip, I said, well, I guess I'll be a part of the solution. Because I wasn't part of the problem, I'll be a part of the solution. So my question is, are we gonna allow the same people to be a part of the solution that were part of the problem to stay on the board? That's my question. Okay.
I'll go around and then I'll answer your question. Who hadn't spoke? You didn't speak yet. Councilwoman Lopez.
What, and this is gonna be a vague one. What is the perk, what is the driving factor behind people wanting to be on this board? And did we have a lot of applicants, or, I'm listening to what, and I understand and I respect that, and I think I had pointed it out last time I asked who on the council had, housing facilities in their districts. But what is believed to be the driving factor behind?
There's no perks. They don't get paid. It's a total volunteer thing. There is no, you don't get anything out of it. It's like many of our boards.
I know no one
Yeah.
gets paid, but certain people want to be on that hospital board. You know what I mean?
With those bigger boards, I think hospital boards, you get insurance. There are some perks.
Mm-hmm.
But this is kind of like many of our city boards that people, thank God they
People
do.
banging the door down and getting on this board.
No.
Did,
I mean, we can.
I'm just asking.
No, I'm being blunt. I have one person who has expressed an interest to be on this board. We are replacing, well, we, for lack of a better term, we fired one board member tonight, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna advertise for that board member. I've had one person so far approach me, and there could be some other names.
Mm-hmm.
What I did was put this up, I'll speak after, but I put this up and said, it's time to do something. All of these, here are the people who are the board members. But we as a council do a very good job of talking about things, communicating, and there are times to my pleasure. I mean, I like it. There are times that I put things on the agenda and I don't know where they're gonna head. I know at the end of the night, we're gonna get a really good decision because we communicate so well and do our thing as a team. So I put them up and then we start talking about them and it heads where it heads. But like I said, to answer your original question, there is no real perk to be on that. It is a community service. Anything else?
Oh no, that's
Okay.
all I know.
Okay. Deidre, Councilwoman Lidden.
Well, you and I had spoken about it, and
Uh-huh.
and I wasn't real pleased with putting the people back on. But the stipulation was that you have the power to remove people
I do, and I'm gonna say that in my
You know.
remarks in 2 seconds.
as needed. If the point of it is, if you all are reappointed, if you don't do the job, you're gonna be gone. That's just the bottom line. Because we need people who are gonna step up and do what needs to be done when it needs to be done, So do your job or resign, or or we're gonna have to remove you, and that's just the way it is.
Anybody further? Okay, it's my turn.
It's
All
your
right.
turn, Mayor.
Thank you.
I'm gonna call him the mayor.
I talked to HUD today. Had a conference call. I have been up to my neck. I know I'm not very tall, so it's not that high. But I've been,
two items.
yeah, it's like, yeah. I've been up to my neck in this for months because I don't want to see it close. Okay, I've had a lot of help. If not for Maxine and our city attorney Jeff Simon, we have been involved in this from day one when we heard about it and said this can't happen. We facilitated meetings. We've tried to settle this. We've met with the board. We made demands on the board that it is true. They fell on deaf ears at first. I asked and asked, okay, we need, another director. Something has to happen. The board's main function is to make sure the director does their job. Many things fell by the wayside. So bad that HUD was saying, well, we're going to close it and tear it down. I didn't want to see our people displaced. I don't want to see the housing project go away. We started getting into action, having meetings. Now, my only responsibility as the mayor for this housing authority is to appoint people on the board. We have no oversight. We don't run anything. We don't do anything except for that. I bring names and you either ratify them or you don't. If you say I want to go out for more names, I go out for more names. If you say I want to ratify these people, fine. If you look at me and say we're going to ratify these people, I can tell you from my heart, we are, looks like, beginning to save it, beginning to move it away from they're going to tear it down. Okay, we're not there yet though. There's financials. Okay, the board finally acted. Let's finish that scenario. The board, and no offense, I just say it publicly, with a lot of pressure, with a lot of, hey, when are you going to do this? With a lot of meetings and calling and talking to people, finally said, okay, we move it. They appointed someone, got rid of the director, appointed someone else. She's working her butt off, I can tell you, to get the paperwork in. I talk to Tish pretty often. She's filling out paperwork. She's doing what she needs. Maxine talks to HUD every week. I have conference calls with them. Jeff comes in. We talk. They are working toward getting the financials, getting all of the paperwork updated, doing everything they need to do to move it along. The grass was a hiccup because they didn't have the funding and didn't have it in place in the proper amount of time. Now they're talking today about getting Tish some help to where it would be more than one person because she's very much overloaded. So she's trying to help. The board is allowing her to do that and is supporting her. The board's going to have to continue to support her. The best deal I have so far, I'll just tell you, we're getting ready to have a meeting with HUD and the board. But the way we're heading now is I've been allowed to talk to the architect who is doing the assessment of the facility. I need to know that because that's going to tell me how much money it's going to take. There's about $800,000 in the kitty. All right? I don't know what it's going to take yet. There's 200 units. Maybe at the end we can renovate 100. We'll have enough money to renovate 100 units. I don't know yet. But the architects are doing the assessment. They released me today to call the architect so that I could talk to him, see when I gotta get the assessment. Then this is way above what my mayor job says for me to do. This is out on a limb, okay? I'm gonna look at it. I've been a contractor and I've done housing projects and I've done apartments. I'm gonna go look at it myself, way out of the league of what I'm supposed to be doing, and see if I think that $800,000 can do some good. Because I want to try to save it. Now the flip side, if I'm gonna go up to my neck, as I say, all right, then I expect the board to do their job. I'm gonna look at it in my view that it was a wake-up call. It was, things have gone badly, and you gotta step up. We fired a board member tonight. Well, I have to fire people all the time. I'm not proud of that, but I've probably fired 30 people since I've been here. And if you count my personal business, the body count's huge. It's not because I want to, but we have a responsibility. I have a responsibility to run something, be it my personal business, be it this city. And you have a responsibility to do your job. So my message to, if you help me with, we're a team. If we choose to put these people back in, my message to them is, you've begun to get momentum, you've begun to move in the right direction. We've got HUD off of scaring our residents and telling people in 90 days we're acting and all these things. We're not out of the woods yet. I expect some diligence and some work ethic because I can't do it alone. And it's not my responsibility to do it. If that doesn't happen, I'll fire every one of them. And that's not a problem. That's what it takes because it is important to save that for our residents and the people who live here and who count on that housing. I fully believe that. On the flip side, I don't want to send this mixed message to HUD. We're finally moving in the right direction. HUD's talking to us, everybody's getting along, and we're beginning to move. If I create chaos by saying, okay, y'all all got to go, I don't think you move fast, your past sins, that's it, I'm punishing you, you're out of here. I think we're going to cause chaos with HUD where we're not moving in the right direction, and now we're, trying to replace we finally got a little bit of momentum. So if it works, great. We'll do what we got to do to fix this place. If it doesn't work, we'll come back. I'll bring the names back. We'll fire every one of them. Now, on the flip side, if this council votes and has a debate and says, well, maybe we should put out for more applications, maybe we should do, I'm up for whatever. I have never steered anybody on this council, and the reason we make pure decisions and the reason we succeed is because we just flesh it out all right here. You want to eat a steak, you got to kill the cow, and you got to get bloody. That's what we do. That's the best thing this council does, is that it's totally transparent and totally whatever happens, happens. And that's why we make pure decisions. So I'm just giving you where I'm coming from. I will hold these people to task the best I can, and if they don't, I will be back. If you want another decision, well, the floor is open. Any further discussion? Did that answer everybody's question? Yes, ma'am.
Final comment.
Okay.
At this point in time, we do need some consistency, and like you said, they have stepped up lately, and they need to continue to do that. So because things are at a pivotal point right now where they're kind of leaning in the right direction, I wouldn't say upset the apple cart at this given time for that particular reason. So that's why I'm gonna vote to keep them now.
Okay. Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask you to please vote your machines. Great. Thank you all very much. Madam Clerk, 5D.
Resolution establishing the annual salary of the city marshal to be $36,000.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by, didn't think I was getting one. Motion by Councilman Swear. A second by Councilwoman Ledbetter. Is there any discussion on this item? Councilman Swear.
I just want to see if you can just make it clear that this is a base salary, the starting salary, so this is not including.
Correct. This is what comes out of our budget. The marshal also serves papers and collects a fee for that. He also has insurance. He also has a car allowance. He also, as an officer, can get state supplemental. So there are many other things that come into this. This is the base salary.
I knew there was a couple of, I guess,
Yes.
candidates or say
Yes.
that wasn't sure, so just want to make sure.
Yes, ma'am. Councilwoman Gager.
And also too, we are taking this annual salary coming out of the general fund, correct, sir?
Yes, it is our responsibility to fund the marshal. Is there any other discussion? None?
Well,
Yes, ma'am.
Just to be,
Councilwoman Lopez.
clear, we fund just the base salary.
Yes, he
The other
earns.
benefits that he gets, he takes out of his office budget.
Yeah,
That
and
does
he
not come
earns-
from our budget.
Well, yes, Jeff.
Well, his office, the courts apparently now, the way,
Yeah,
yeah.
Jeff?
Let's break that down.
Yeah, he can collect some fees
correct.
for performing certain services, and those he can keep over and above his salary.
Or she, one day.
She, one day.
It could be a she one day.
But, and some of the revenue that's generated is for the expenses of his office, but not for his salary. But the mayor was thinking that it's time to talk about this because we have people who are running for that office who really don't know what they're gonna be paid.
Yeah, right, it's not.
And we have
easy.
voters
And
who
you
are
can't tell
voting
from-
who
yeah, you
don't know
can't
what
tell
the
from-
job pays.
You can't tell from the budget.
You can't
From
tell
his
from the budget. So this, we decided the best way to do it would probably be to set this by resolution now, and then it'll be part of the budget process. Because we're trying to bring a lot of these city court-related issues into the budget process so you folks can deal with them, just like all your other budget issues that you consider. So this is to, it's to express the will of the council about the salary. We think it's probably about $12,000 difference from what it might be now, or what it has been in the past. But those figures have been adjusted in the past to increase salary for retirement purposes. So we're just trying to make it as transparent as we can for one of these issues. But set the salary now with a resolution, and y'all will take it up as part of the budget also in a few months.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, please vote your machines. Thank you all very much. Madam Clerk, 4E.
Resolution requesting financial assistance from the state of Louisiana under the fiscal year 2019-2020 local government assistance program.
Do I have a motion?
Motion, second.
Whoa, Councilman Lewis and Councilwoman Gidry. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, please vote your machines. Thank you all very much. 4F.
Resolution accepting administrative change order number 1 for the New Iberia Police Department dispatch office renovation to adjust the contract to include modifications to server room for a final contract price of $58,745.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Councilwoman Guidry, Councilwoman Ledbetter, and I just want to clarify that the change order is not 58,000. The change order is 16,000 to add to the contract we already have. The total contract price will be 58. Is there any discussion?
I got a question, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I saw we trying to address the server room,
Yes, we are.
and that you have to add air conditioning
Yeah.
to the server room. Is there any other work on the original contract? Did they have a server room included?
No. We
Okay.
had an area identified for a server room, and then we got the idea. At first, we had an area to identify to just put a server, okay? Then we had the idea and the concept on the third floor. If you look out the window from the parking lot, you see that nasty window unit, which is rotted out the window, which runs continuously because the server on the third floor gets hot because of all the equipment. So we realized that we could make that an office again, number one, and then talking to Chuck, if all of our server equipment was in the same spot, it was better for him. So then we got the concept, well, could we make one server room for the whole building while we're doing this construction project? And we found the money within the budget to be able to do that. So that will free up an office on the third floor, put everything on the first floor, get a real air conditioner for that room, which will actually make it better for the equipment, do the electrical and the air conditioning, and set us up where now on the first floor, all of our servers are together. Chuck's got to go work on something or reconfigure something. Everything's in one spot. So it just made sense to do it. But that's what we're doing, and we needed an air conditioner to cool that, of course. But it was not originally the amount of equipment that we are getting for the new dispatch is actually, we're taking a field trip on Thursday to go look at one that has equipment just like ours, but we all felt that we would need a room that size.
Yeah, because I just wanted to make sure that y'all wasn't paying $16,000
For an air conditioner.
I knew I would have to talk to
I
you
knew
about
that's
that.
where it was heading. I knew that. No, but it's cable trays, it's electrical,
Yeah,
it's
I
a
got
bunch
you.
of stuff.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay. Any further? Well, thank you, though. Any further questions?
So are we
Yes.
gonna amend this as this is written?
Well, it works because it says final.
$15,745.
Yes, it says final contract, and so we know if you look at the breakdown, we're just adding $16,000. I'm not sneaking in $58,000 more
Okay.
or 40 something more. Any further discussion? Nope. Great. Hearing none, please vote your machines. Thank y'all very much. Madam Clerk, item 5.
Introduction of an ordinance and set for public hearing on September 3rd, 2019. Introduction of an ordinance to the New Iberia City Council authorizing the mayor to donate 2 surplus police units from the city of New Iberia to the city of Delcombe Police Department in accordance with Louisiana Revised Statute 38:2319.21 police units.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Swear, seconded by Councilwoman Ledbetter. And just to explain, we got about 6 units, some from Lafayette. Man, I'm drawing a blank where we got the other ones from, but Youngsville, thank you. So we ended up with these units. We have utilized 2 of them. So we're using 2 units. Of these other old units, they're all older Crown Vics. We're not utilizing the other ones that are sitting at the parish barn. A couple of them actually got vandalized. But they're sitting out there. We wanted to keep at least 1 or 2 for parts for the 2 that we have fixed up and repainted and relogoed and put a little money into. The rest of them are just sitting there wasting away. When I saw in the paper that Delcombe had a broken police car that they could not afford to fix, I just thought, both Youngsville and Lafayette helped us. I know we're still a fledgling department, but hey, pass it on, pay forward. So I contacted the mayor of Delcombe and just said, I got to run it by the council, of course, but we would like to help you. So we decided that if we gave them 2 cars, they kind of had one that could be on the road, and they'll probably put both on the road, but they'd have one on the road and one for spares because these are not new cars. So that was the concept, and so that's why we're bringing it to you. And like I said, we had no use for them. Any discussion? Great. Hearing none, please vote your machines. Thank y'all very much. They'll be excited. Crime wave in Delcombe crushed. I'm sorry. Item 6, Madam Clerk.
Budget to actual comparisons from November 1st, 2018 through May 31st, 2019, presented by Kevin Zarang, City Treasurer.
Evening, Council.
David.
I know y'all were looking forward to this. If y'all are okay, we'll proceed with the same procedures we have in the past, doing it in total. Stop me at any point if you have a question. General fund was budgeted to be 20 million. Year to date, we had 11.2, which is 57.05% of the budget. At 7 months, I'm sorry, I skipped that, 7 months, we should be at 58.3. So we are close on the general fund's revenue. Budgeted expense was 19.7. Year to date, we're at 10.2, so we're at 51.67. So even though we're a little lower on our revenue, we're also lower than expected on the expenses. Parks and Recreation was budgeted revenue of 1.2. Year to date, it's at 954,000. So they are at 78.86 of their revenue. And the reason is for that is same as the prior months, the way we recognize the ad valorem tax. Expenses, 1.4 million. Year to date, we had 664. Leaves us at 48. And it's because some of the capital outlays have not been completed. Public Works, revenue at 2.8, year to date 1.9. We're at 67.66%. Same reason for the higher is because of the ad valorem tax recognition. Budgeted expense of 2.8, year to date 1.4, so we have 50.88%. Sales tax fund, revenue of 8.1, year to date 4.9, so we're at 60.65. Expenses 8.5, actuals 5 million, leaving us at 58.33. Public safety tax, revenue of 3 million, year to date 1.9, we're at 63.32%. Expenses of 3 million, year to date 1.9, we're at 60.99 of the expenditures. Garbage fund, 4.8, year to date 2.9, we're at 59.74% of the revenue. Budget 4.8, year to date 2.8, we're at 58.36% of the budget. Section 8, revenue of 1.3, year to date it's 800,000, we're at 62.1%. Expenses of 1.3, year to date 798, leaving us at 59.56 of our expenses. Wastewater, 5.4 million, year to date 3.4, year to date we're at 63.22. Expenses 4.7, actual 2.7, we're at 58.45%. Do I have any questions?
Any questions? None? Thank you, Kevin. Item 7, we have no discussion items. We move on to item 8, Councilman remarks. Let's go with Councilwoman Lopez.
The only thing I have is I forgot at the end of last meeting, and I didn't say, oh, I forgot, let me go one more time. I said I'm gonna use some self-control and I'm gonna wait till the next meeting. So what I have is, the last meeting at the end, a lot of people touched on the fact of the staff and everything they did for the storm, and how cooperative they were and how well of a team we had. And I want to point out, because it didn't get pointed out, and I definitely think it needs to be, of how amazing our mayor and parish president were. There just are no words. I know I personally called them each probably 10 times in 72 hours, whether it be to ask about electricity, to report something, or just to say, hey, how's it going? What's going on? They answered every time, and the times that they didn't answer, they call me back in like 5 minutes. And it just goes to show, anyone can get elected and do the job, but it takes special people to put their selfishness aside and completely just dive in situations like this. And it's like, it's part of an oath you take, but no one can make you be 200% all in. And not everybody might like Freddie all the time. Not everybody might like Larry all the time. Not everybody, I'm sure, likes me all the time. And and that's okay. But I'm gonna tell you what, whether you like Freddie or you like Larry, those men answer that phone and they care and they don't stop. They really don't. And that's just something to be said about it. It impresses me beyond. I mean, I feel so grateful to serve with them at the same time period that they serve, because they genuinely do it because they care, not because they have these other aspirations. And I think that needed to be said in some way, shape, or form. Thank you.
All right, Mayor and Council, we have this Sunday, we have our annual Cuts for Kids from 12 to 4. Also, immediately following that is going to be a prayer walk. One of the locations is at Twins Hair Salon and Barbershop on Anderson Street, right across from Anderson Middle School. And that's from 12 to 4, our annual Cuts for Kids that we partner with Omega Sci-Fi and those guys. Also, Mr. B, man, good job on the arms and lights, man. For the train, that's good. Good job, man. I see they got new stuff over there. I just want to congratulate you. I don't know if I got a chance to do that. I know, you've been working on that for a while. Also, man, I want to tell those kids and parents, welcome back to school. I know we're not the school board, but we care. We're going to do our best to keep the streets safe, as we talked about, working with our police department, having them, like I always said, man, the first thing that my kids, the last thing that I want my kids to see getting off the school board and getting off the school bus in District 2 is drugs, prostitution, anything that is unpleasing and not right for those little minds that being shaped during the day. I don't think that's the first thing they should see getting on and off the school board. A school bus, I don't know why the school board is on my mind. But, so we definitely welcoming y'all back and going to do all that we can do to keep y'all safe this school year. So far, man, and of course my prayers go out to El Paso and Dayton, Ohio. We definitely need to do what we need to do. I know they're working on a national level, they're working on a state level, but also locally we need to be mindful that it could have been us. It could have been us. We live in a sportsman paradise where we love guns here too. So we need to be looking at putting things in place for just in case, God forbid, some fool attempts to do a shooting here in our community, So, and I'm gonna be talking with you and the chief, and I'm sure us as a council are gonna take hold of that and try to make sure that our community remains safe from that kind of attack, if you will. And that's all I have.
Recently departed Jerry Shea Sr., well known for promoting the Port of Iberia by developing the Bayou Pipe companies. Also supporting several organizations such as being an ambassador to the Boy Scouts. It'd be a great loss for Iberia Parish, Mr. Marlowe. I wish to report to the council that installation of a new railroad crossing safety arm on Dale Street is near completion. This is where Dale Street crosses Louisiana Delta Railroad.
That area is in two adjacent districts represented by both Councilwoman Sherry Gidry, District 5, on the right side of Dale Street and the left side, my district, District 3. Dale Street is one of the main roads on the south side of New Iberia, connecting residents and businesses from Hopkins Street all the way to Jefferson Terrace, one of the main cross streets. The railroad crossing safety arm will not only improve safety for New Iberia, but also for those and others who live and travel on Dale Street. So we want to thank the DOTD for coming and put a little jewel on one of our little side streets, not our main drag. So that's a little jewel. That's a compliment that we seen them put to save our lives. There used to be a guy with a red flag had to stop every time and stop the traffic. A dangerous location. So I'm so glad to see the state step up and come put this safety arm up for the people. That's all I have.
Mayor, unfortunately, it seemed like in the last week or two, I've been going to many funerals and in funeral homes, and you know, I know you like to, you should respect the family or the one that passed away, but is there a law or is just as a respect from a citizen that when you have a police unit, a fire truck, or ambulance, or even a hearse with a body, when I know I do, you know, get on the side of the road. Is there something? Because I saw some people acting like a jerk next to some funeral.
Procession.
Yeah, procession. I just didn't know if there was a law or that's just as a citizen you feel the respect to pull away from a funeral.
I'm not sure. Let's ask our assistant chief is here, who was a state trooper before that. Assistant Chief, AC, is that a law for a funeral? I don't think it is.
It's more out of respect that the citizens give. Now, for those emergency vehicles that are in the procession, yes, they're going to yield to them. When encountering intersections, the participants have to follow the law as far as obeying traffic signals. If the motoring public allows you to pass through, you do it at your own risk.
Wow.
So it's more of a courtesy that we extend, especially down south.
Yeah.
But it's not. There's no law governing.
Yeah. Good. I appreciate. I was just wondering because it's just
Good question.
Thank you, sir.
really noticed it, but
Yes.
well, good. Thank you. That's what I needed.
Put him on the spot. He'll never come to a meeting again. No.
I didn't mean that.
All good. Thank you, sir.
And just as Marla talked about earlier, that schools start up again. Just watch those kids because it's a new thing for them to start getting on those buses, and sometimes they kind of run the wrong way. So just look out for them when you see a bus, and because they get excited sometimes when they get off that bus to go home and get a treat.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I do want
Yes,
to
ma'am.
announce that we're not having a neighborhood watch for District 3 this month. They are filming at the Slyman, so you get a break. And I do want to welcome all the kids back to school, and I wish you have a really good school year. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
I'm excited about the fact that we actually have movie filmers in our town, and that they're going to be supporting our local restaurants. Should I pause? You're right, Natalie. Oh, Mr. Broussard, Mr. Broussard, you okay? Okay. They're going to be supporting our local restaurants and our eateries and our bed and breakfasts. So I'm excited about their supporting our local economy. Also, our Iberia Film Festival took place. The director of the film festival was Mark Beyonce, and the Iberia Film Festival had a very successful record this year. Over 200 were in attendance for Thursday was the opening and of the screening Pavi, a film by Carrie Simon. Local executive producer was Vicki Branton, highlighting the book and life and passion of Dr. late Donald Pavi. I think I'm saying his last name right. Friday's event had over 100 in attendance, and Saturday over 350 people viewed the selected films. Film entries came from over 8 countries, which was wowing all by itself, and many different states with 5 entries for student film category. Film goers attended from Iowa, from Wisconsin, Texas, California, and as well as all around Acadiana. So this was a very proud event once again for New Iberia. Again, in my district, I'm excited about that. I love the arts. I have a child that is in music and arts, and so just wanted to say congratulations to the Iberia Film Association, and also too just wanted to talk about again, which the council members said, to pray for our nation. We are being spiritually and physically attacked. It is domestic terrorism, and I'm just going to ask all our prayer warriors out there to pray. Remember, our kids do go back to school, which was also said. Be mindful of the stopping and starting of those school buses, drivers. And just want to wish my hubby happy 28th marriage anniversary. He is not here, but I just wanted to extend that out to him. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one announcement. We have a neighborhood watch meeting Monday, which is August 12th at 6 p.m. It's going to be like a meet and greet, like which we've seen in District 1. So some of the candidates that are coming will be there in attendance. So if anyone wants to hear what they have to say or what they have to bring to the table, 6 p.m. August 12th at North Lewis Elementary. So, and that's it.
Great. Thank you.
you.
I have a few. I got to participate in Fill the Basket this weekend, which is for the diner. As you know, the diner lost power during Barry, so they lost all of their food. It was very, very successful, very well attended, really a neat event. I'm also going to try to put together that we as a city serve once a month at the diner. So I'm asking council members, I'll talk to my staff, I would like to get a presence there where once a month we served and kind of got plugged in at the diner. They do a lot of great work for a lot of people who need the help. So I just want to put that out there, that that's something that I'll be kind of sending out and just trying to get a team together that we would do that one day out the month. It takes from 11:30 to 12:30. It's not a huge commitment. Next thing, we'll talk about the movie a little bit. They start filming on August the 12th. Just give you a quick rundown, which also tell you how we got the movie, okay? In other words, this was some business decisions, so we needed to make business decisions. We have film incentives that we put out there, and that help to attract them, but it goes way deeper than that. People do things for money reasons. So we offered, because I'm already seeing on Facebook, people complaining a little bit of I'm going to lose business. They haven't started filming yet. You might gain business, I think it's a bigger picture item of they're filming for 1 month in our community, August 12th to the first week of September. And then it's over. It's done. But that's going to play 5 or 6 times a year for the next 4 or 5 years on the Lifetime channel. The press our city's going to get, you couldn't pay for if you tried to. The amount of exposure for tourism, for your businesses, for everything involved in our community far outweighs 3 weeks to a month of inconveniences. And in most instances, which is why I'm going to go over this, they film here at City Hall. That's free. Somebody asked me what I was going to do with the tax money. We didn't tax them. We coaxed them here by saying, come and make money and expose our community, and show the wonders that we have here. Show our culture, show our architecture, show our history. The film is not only filmed here, the movie, the story is based on New Iberia. That's another big plus. They could have just come and filmed here and, made it nameless USA. It's not. It's about New Iberia. So they're filming at City Hall. They'll be utilizing the front of City Hall for 2 nights. That's one of the scenes. They'll be using the Steamboat Warehouse. They'll use the gazebo. They'll do some shots downtown. They'll do shots along Fulton, along the bayou. They'll do some shots in some private homes. They're using 4 of my buildings. I'm not getting paid a dime. You hear me? Nothing. I gave it to them. I gave it to them because I said, come and make money. Now, what I did ask them, If you want to give me 50 cents on the dollar and make a donation to the city so I can use that money to get some more films, great. I'll take some money. I don't want it for myself. But I did that because that's what got them here. What got them here was they said they never had a community of someone approach it from a business standpoint and say, come, use our stuff. We understand the press we're going to get out of this, the exposure we're going to get, we could never pay for. So I'm just asking everyone to be patient. The longest filming is probably 3 days in any location. So there will be some inconveniences. I know there will. I have a business on Main Street. It'll be inconvenienced. It's okay. It's for a few days. The amount of people that are going to visit our downtown to watch the filming, the amount of extras that are coming. We have some scenes where there's over 100 extras. Guess what? Those people have to eat somewhere. They have blocked out 40 hotel rooms. There are 20, I see them every day at my office. There are 20-something employees working that have been here for a couple of weeks. They've rented almost every bed and breakfast in town. The stars are staying at different locations. The staff, the production people, the producer, the director, all those people are here. But they're here now. They've been eating in our restaurants and, visiting our establishments at night and doing things and dropping money already. So for the next month, that's going to happen. I ask for your patience. I ask you to look at the big picture, which is that this is promoting our city in a way that we never could afford to do, and this is bringing in a whole lot of economic impact. Yeah, and it might not be for you, The one shop that doesn't get something seems to be the one that screams the loudest. But this is an overall economy. Think of our little city and think of the money that's being dumped. Every dollar spent in town turns over 7 times. They got to eat. They got to fuel their car up. They got stuff to do. They got things to buy. So they're paying taxes. All of those things are happening, so I think it's great. I think it's a really positive thing, but I just wanted to kind of let people know the layout from the 12th to the end of the month, and most of the filming will be the third week of August, a lot downtown. But it's a great thing for our community. What an opportunity, and I hope to get more movies. Next thing I'm going to tell you, school zones are coming, and if you haven't noticed, our police department is writing traffic tickets. We said we'd wait 6 months. We waited almost a year. We have begun to write tickets. I can tell you we're going to hit the school zones hard. That's not a tip, that's the truth. We have to protect our kids. But we're out there, we have a traffic division now, and we are writing tickets. Please slow down. I'm not looking to make some quota. I'm not looking to fund the world out of traffic tickets. We're just trying to keep people safe and curb people's bad driving habits because we all live here. Our kids are on the road, our families are on the road, and we just need to be safe. But school zones, be mindful because we will have officers in our school zones. That's it. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Thank you.